Hello, and welcome to Make a Difference, the show about how volunteers are making a difference every day here in Montgomery County. I'm your host, Lorraine Driscoll. Today, we'll discuss how residents can connect with Kind Works, a group that organizes volunteer opportunities to help support vulnerable members of the community. Don't go away, we'll be right back. Welcome back to Make a Difference. I'm your host, Lorraine Driscoll. With me today is Deborah Lang, Executive Director of Kind Works, and Karen Simon, a longtime volunteer, board member, and project chair with Kind Works. Karen and Deb, thanks for joining us. Welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us.
So Kind Works is an organization that's been around for a little bit.
Almost 10 years.
Okay, well tell us about it. Tell me about Kind Works.
So Kind Works, we're a network of individuals in the community who come together to volunteer together. So we do all kinds of different volunteer projects. People can join people can join us for one project at a time, or they can participate in an ongoing way. We have a newsletter that comes out every month that offers the range of activities that you can jump in on whenever you're available. And I would say we've got about 900 people who receive our information.
Wow, so it's like a group or a network of people who volunteer together, is what I said, or...
An ever-changing group
of
people who, and what we do is we package volunteer opportunities so that they're meaningful and that people are empowered as volunteers to give what they have to give to others in the community, and it makes a difference. So people come together for shelter dinners and for cooking projects, to do reentry work with people in the jail, and to do apartment setups for new refugees. There's a whole range of volunteer projects that we put out.
So whatever your interest is, you might have it.
Yeah. And it can change. So you might be a shelter dinner participant this month. Karen, in fact, has volunteered in a multitude of different ways with us. So I'm hoping she'll share some of those.
Well, Karen, so you're a board member and also a project chair, but stepping back, tell me how you got involved with Kind Works.
I heard about Kind Works a long time ago and have been involved in various projects from when we used to collect Halloween candy and send it to the troops. I've done a lot of the shelter work. I work regularly at the jail. And there's always something so interesting. I've done community service forever, but I found that Kind Works just offered such an array of opportunities. You meet incredible people, you work with incredible people, and I thought, I could just do this all the time. So I really tried to increase my participation, and I love working with at the jail, and I just wanted to be more involved. So I just kind of proposed some ideas, and Deb asked me if I wanted to be on the board, and that's how it got started.
So are you running a project, or are you?
I am actually right now. I'm running a project. It's called the Silent Guest Campaign. It's called the Silent Guest Campaign because there's always room at the table for one more. Give $10, share 10 times. And I saw a 60 Minutes piece this past March on the famine in South Sudan, and I was so blown away. I went to Deb and I said, can't we expand our concept of community? You know, Kind Works does so much locally. Why don't we expand our concept of community? And we had a board meeting and they agreed, yeah, let's try it. So we are working with the World Food Program USA, and we've developed this program that's now, this campaign that's now running through Thanksgiving. Give $10, share 10 times. And so far we're off to a really good start, and we're trying to get participation all over the country. It takes a lot of people who give a little bit to make a big difference.
Which is really what Kind Works
is all about.
Process is. Instead of coming and having my family do a shelter dinner, we bring together 10 people, and each one does a tiny bit of the dinner, and together they all go in and feel the accomplishment and the connectedness of bringing dinner to 35 women or 70 men or whichever project we're doing. Everything we do is each person gives a little bit, but together we give a lot.
And that seems to be one of the unique things about Kind Works, is that it's a network, a group of people volunteering in different ways. And I love the creativity that if somebody says, I've got an idea, that the network is, you're willing to open it up
making-
and say, let's
Sure.
let's see who wants to do that one.
Right.
So
And yet, it sounds like you have some very impactful projects, which I want to get to.
Yes.
yeah.
So I'm sorry to interrupt, but
No,
I
go
heard
ahead.
you talk about the correction facility.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
So there's the American Job Corps works out of the Montgomery County Correctional Facility in Boyds, Maryland, and they do reentry work with the mostly men, but some of the women there as well. And we've supported them for, I would say, 5 or 6
Oh, at
years
least,
at
yeah.
least. And our volunteers originally went in and provided mock interviews. So it would be a new face coming in when these guys were ready to try out an interview, and they're nervous walking into it, but they get the experience of what it's like to interview, and then they get feedback. So we started doing that for a while, and then we started working on resumes with them. We now do a whole range of reentry activities with them through the American Job Service.
And you're a volunteer with that program. That's one
I
of
have
your.
done that for a long time.
Wow, so what's
I
that
love
like?
it. It's great. It's great. I remember someone said to me, "Aren't you scared?" I've never even thought about being scared. It's mostly young men, but not always, and they are so grateful just to have one-on-one time with someone outside and someone who listens. You know, we're there to listen and yes, to advise, but really to hear and appreciate and learn about them. Let them share their stories with us. And when they see that we care, and we really do care, it makes a difference to them, and it kind of boosts their confidence in a way that, okay, I think when I get out of here, I can get a job, and I can be a part of the community. That's the big thing.
That's awesome. I mean, that's such a critical time. And these are folks who are a few months before they are
usually
scheduled for
6
release.
months.
Uh-huh.
Usually 6 months.
So this is a nice
before.
time frame to say, all right,
What are you going to do now?
and give people some tools and confidence to
Yes.
get there. And I
Yes.
heard you say before we started, I hope you don't mind, that you're looking to invite some of those folks as they come out to get involved in Kind Works, which is awesome.
We do, because one of the problems that we hear about is when they get out, it's the downtime that really wreaks havoc with their resolve to change how they're living. So what's better than volunteering?
Right.
So it gives them a new community. It gives them something to do that's productive, and sometimes it leads to jobs. So
They say to connect when you want to
Yes.
find a work. So
Yes.
yeah. So tell me these such great projects. Tell me about another one. You've got
a
the
really
shelter.
fun project that we have been doing for the last 6 months is with recovered food through Nourish Now at a kitchen, a huge, beautiful kitchen at Gaithersburg Presbyterian Church with our volunteers and volunteers from both the church or Nourish Now, whoever comes. And we've had women from the shelter that we service come and cook with us. We cook breakfast. One Friday morning every month, we gather at the church with the recovered food and the recipes that Nourish Now brings, and create 160 hot meals that gets delivered to the men's shelter through the Montgomery County Coalition for the Homeless on Goody Drive. So
Awesome.
it's just show up and cook and meet people.
So
Yes.
tell me, if someone wants to get involved with Kind Works, how do they find you?
www.dokindworks.org.
And is there a phone number?
301-792-3708. And most of our projects are listed on the Montgomery County Volunteer Center's wonderful database of volunteer activities. And most of our projects, although not the jail, offer student service learning hours.
Oh, wonderful.
So that's great, too.
I mean, I assume that some of your volunteering is with families. I mean, is it
lot of
parents and
families.
students sometimes? Oh,
We grew
that's
out of
neat
an
as well.
organization that loved the model of children and moms and parents volunteering together.
Okay.
So we've retained a lot of that, and we have a lot of kids show up.
And do you have single people as well?
Oh,
or-
totally.
Okay.
And there are always new
The
people
whole
coming
mix of-
in
uh-huh.
because they hear about a project
Right.
or someone talks about, oh, did you hear what KindWorks did, or KindWorks sponsored this? What's KindWorks?
Right.
So they find us on the web, or they just talk to someone and they find out that, oh, that person works with KindWorks, and they get involved. It's not membership based at all. It's just you read what we're doing and then you say, I want to do that.
Right. So if you go to, what is it, dokindworks.org?
DoKindWorks.org.
dokindworks.org. if you go there, so there's a calendar, but also a sign up to get the newsletter. Is that how it works? Or
Yes,
how do
you can subscribe to the newsletter right on the website. They come out not often, monthly, so that you're not inundated. But on the website, there is a calendar, but there's also a list of our projects that describes what each project is, where it's held, how often it's held, and then each specific date has a sign up. So you can sign up right on the website, or you're welcome to call me or send me an email. I love to chat with people.
So tell me about another project. What's you've mentioned
About the
several.
refugee support that we started this year.
What Alexa's doing?
What we're all doing.
Well, yes, what we're all doing, but one of our KindWorks board members is kind of in charge of it. But basically, it happened how long
In
ago?
February, we had a Welcome Refugee Dinner. That was the kickoff event.
Right.
And we brought, I think, about 10 refugee families and through the resettlement agencies, and maybe about 60 of our community members, and thousands of dollars worth of goods that people brought to this dinner so that we could share things with the refugee families who were there. Many of them weren't coming from places that had winter, so warm clothing, household goods.
It almost took over the space. All of the stuff. It was unbelievable.
It's sort of a sharing of
Fantastic.
It was
We
a
literally had
repurposing.
truckloads going to people's places to give out the stuff that they had decided they wanted. It was very successful. But as a result of that, we work with Lutheran Social Services and other organizations to furnish apartments for refugee families coming over from Syria, Congo, Afghanistan, et cetera, et cetera. They're coming slowly, but the need is there for them. So you can see pictures on our website of what the apartments look like before and after, and it's a home that you'd want to move into. It's just filled with love.
and to come from a refugee experience and to be able to say, I've got to start. I can focus on.
And their first meal is a meal that we prepare for them that is from their country. So
my goodness!
So it's waiting for them when they walk in and open the refrigerator. In fact, we're doing our 12th apartment setup today, and one of the refugee families offered to make, that we had set up their apartment for in the past, offered to make the meal to be included in today's apartment setup. So it's how you want these things to happen. People just jump in and get involved and reach out, and the world becomes, our county becomes a little smaller. It's fantastic.
It feels like this dynamic network that's very warm and that you can kind of tap into as you have time, but also it can really become a community for people.
Yes.
Out of our work with the refugee families, in this past spring, we were anticipating what was happening over the summer, and we knew that there were so many kids from these families. And we thought, how can we support the kids? What are they going to do all summer? And out of that, we thought of something called a Summer Fun Stuff Project. And working with the children, we ended up expanding that to include Montgomery County in general, all the kids in need. And we ended up serving 1,700 kids with toys, books, etc.
This is awesome. We're unfortunately out of time. One more time, tell me your website address.
www.dokindworks.org.
And the phone number?
301-792-3708.
Terrific. Well, thank you so much for your time, Karen and
Thank
Deb, for
you.
telling us about all these good experiences and how to get involved and become part of KindWorks.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you.
We've been talking today with Deb Lang, Executive Director for KindWorks, and Karen Simon, a longtime volunteer, board member, and project chair with KindWorks. For more information about volunteering in Montgomery County, please contact the Volunteer Center at 240-777-2600 or visit their website at www.montgomeryserves.org. And remember, as a volunteer, you can make a difference.
People think I'm trash, but they're wrong. Today I'm just an aluminum can, but one day I could be a stadium.